Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Tuesday Topics. Hope you guys had a good week of workouts, recovery, and food. Today I'm going to talk about nutrition and macros. Okay, so I'm going to start with nutrition. Basic nutrition, we have macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fats. Micronutrients are vitamins, so things like sodium, or potassium, or calcium. So small minerals the body needs to function. So on a very large scale, macronutrients and micronutrients perform a specific job for the human body. In the fitness world, you guys will hear a little bit more about macros. So macros include carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, like I mentioned before. These are the three building blocks of our energy sources. So when macros are talked about, there's two things that are broken down in the world of fitness or macro tracking. There is energy, like I just mentioned, and then there's calories per gram. So energy source-wise, carbohydrates are going to be the first energy source that your body takes. So you're using carbohydrates as the quickest form or source of energy. So knowing that carbohydrates are the quickest energy source is definitely helpful when you're trying to plan around your day as far as your energy level goes or your workout. So knowing what complex carbs are versus simple carbs is super important. So you guys might have heard a lot on the internet, good carbs and bad carbs. Personally, I think that's bullshit. A carb's a carb. You just have to understand the difference between the simple and the complex. So I'll break that down for you in a second. So how do simple carbs affect your energy level versus complex carbs? This is key. Simple carbs will spike your energy almost instantly. It will also drop your energy. Complex carbs do the opposite. They give you nice sustained energy. So if you go for a carb source that you know will sustain your energy for a longer amount of time, you're going to strategize throughout the day and you can control your energy level. Versus simple carbs, which basically just have this kind of crash effect. So it's like drinking a cup of coffee and then coming off of it and feeling like shit. That's the same effect as simple carbs. So knowing that in general, you can plan your meals and your snacks around times of days where you feel tired or your workout. You could use simple carbs to your advantage, almost like a pre-workout to spike your energy if you know you're going to hit the gym for an hour. But yeah, you can play around with these based on your lifestyle. And I mentioned an example of simple carbs and how they affect your energy, but I didn't say anything about complex carbs. So complex carbs are great to use if you know you're going to be busy for a couple hours and you know it's almost impossible to eat. It's the same effect as eating proteins or fats. It's going to stay in your system longer. Now, granted, it's not going to stay in your system as long as proteins or fats would. It will be better. You will be better off if you aim for a complex source versus a simple source if you know you're going to be working long hours or if you have a longer workout. So last thing about carbs, if you do find yourself being hungry frequently throughout the day, take a look at how you're building your meals. So if you are grabbing things like cereal on the go for breakfast, and for lunch you might have a sandwich with white bread, and for dinner you might be eating a big pasta dish, those are all simple go-tos for carbs. So those won't be in your system for very long and they'll be digested quickly. And that can lead to an understanding of why you're so hungry all the time. Complex carbs, again, stay in your system longer, therefore help with your energy being sustained and also help with your appetite. So if you are trying to lose weight, complex carbs are great because they help control your appetite. Okay, so we talked about carbohydrates being the first energy source for the body. So talking about fats and proteins and what their job plays for the human body is essential. Fats are going to actually give you the most energy out of carbs and protein. It's not going to give you the quickest energy like carbs would, but it's going to give you the most. It's going to give you the most because it's the most nutrient-dense macro. So besides being an abundant energy source, fats are key for our health too because they fuel our cell health. So if we cut fats out of our diet, our body is not running at the most or at its highest potential. Therefore, it might diminish our metabolism. So fats are key too for your hair and your skin health and also your brain function. So that's the role of fats. And next, I'm going to show you guys a slide of fat sources. Okay, so the last macronutrient out of the three is protein, which is my favorite, and it has nothing to do with fitness, actually. Protein has many roles in the body. Outside of muscle repair, it also helps with our immune system, so it fights off infection. It also helps with hormones and also transporting oxygen and blood throughout our body, which is pretty cool. What else does protein do? Oh, okay. Most obvious one. So protein helps with metabolism. So although I made a mistake earlier, it's not an energy source in which we eat. I mean, obviously it's going to be nourishing, but the main reason behind eating protein is to fuel your muscles because our muscles are made of amino acids and so are protein sources. So amino acids on amino acids. And what that does is helps our metabolism. So that's protein's job. Basically, as much as I can remember, there's definitely more. But protein's awesome. And just like carbohydrates, there's 4 calories for every 1 gram. Okay, so that wraps up general nutrition. Thank you guys so much for listening again. If you have questions, just shoot me a message. I'm happy to answer. And next week, I'm going to talk about macro tracking. And that's typically what you see in my story when I have the macro breakdown of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and then total calories. There's more information on that, and my attention span is only so long, and I know yours is too, because hopefully you watched this whole video. If not, I understand. I talk a lot. But yes, thank you guys. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next week.